Hey guys, this is Gus from the Dan Beard Council, and today we're going to continue doing our Scouting at Home video series. Our project today is we're going to make tie-dye, but with a little bit of a twist. We're going to make tie-dye by using a fruit or vegetable. So there's a few different things that you need to do this. So you're going to need 2 pots, possibly a third pot if it's like an old pot that you don't care if it gets messy, or a wash bucket. A strainer, some rubber bands, you will need some salt, gloves, obviously you need a cotton shirt, a measuring cup, and then a knife. So why don't you go ahead and stop the video, make sure you get those items, and then we'll start back up. Alright, so we're back, and so first what you want to do is go get your fruit or vegetable, and we'll talk about the choices for that in a second. Go get your fruit or vegetable and chop it up a little bit so it fills more space in the pot. And you'll need a parent to do that, as well as the next step too, which is involving a stove. So make sure you have a parent involved. So you're gonna pour your fruit or vegetable into the pot. Make sure to put twice as much water into the pot than the fruit or vegetable, and then go ahead and put it on medium heat and then let it simmer for about an hour. And then after that, you're gonna let it cool for about another hour. So when it comes to picking your fruit or vegetable, obviously it just depends on the color. So I'll list off a few different colors and what fruits or vegetables work with those colors. So if you want to go like have a red or pink dye, some good ones would be pomegranate, beets, raspberries, cherries. If you want to do orange, you can do carrots. Orange peels would be good for that as well. Yellow, you can do lemon peels, and actually celery leaves are good for that as well. Green, you can do spinach, parsley, artichokes, peppermint leaves. Let's see here. And then blue and purple, just because those are kind of similar. You can do blackberries, grapes. I'm doing, I'm not sure if you can tell, but this is actually blueberry. So it's gonna have, like, I'm guessing at this point, maybe even a purple or red-ish dye color. Just looking at it right now. And then if you want to do brown, you can do walnut hulls, tea, coffee, and then for gray or black, you can do iris roots. So you got a few different options, and but yeah, so you want to let this simmer for about an hour. Whatever you pick, make sure it's chopped up, takes up space, and then let it cool down, because the next step, you don't want to burn yourself. So at the same time when you're doing this, I'm gonna scoot over here. So this is the shirt. So this is the other pot I'm using. So you want to make sure your shirt is wet, so that it does take in the dye when you do start that process. So there's 2 different ways you need to do this, depending if you're using a fruit or a vegetable. So if you're using a fruit to prepare the shirt, you need to put in the pot a quarter cup of salt, and then 4 cups of water, and then go ahead and put your shirt in there. And the water is cold water for fruit, so you don't need to put it on heat or anything like that. Just put 4 cups of cold water and then a quarter cup of salt, and make sure it's getting soaked This is gonna the salt's gonna help the shirt, get the have the dye stick on the shirt. So that's why you are putting salt in the water. Now, if you're using a vegetable, it's a little different. What you're gonna do is, once again, the proportion is 4 cups of water, but then a cup of vinegar. And then you're also gonna put it on heat to a boil, and then you're gonna go ahead and put your shirt in when it's nice and hot, and let it go for an hour. And then after that hour, you're gonna put some cold water on the shirt, so obviously it doesn't burn your hands. So that's what you need to do to prep the shirt. And then what we're gonna do, I'm gonna let you guys go ahead and do this step. When I come back, I'm gonna show you, I'm gonna walk through the process of the actual tie-dye part. So remember, next step, you need another like old pot or a bucket, and then you need gloves because you don't want the dye to get stained on your hands. That wouldn't be fun. And then you need some, if you want to do some patterns with your shirt, you don't have to, but you can get rubber bands. And if you want to figure out different designs on how to do that, you can definitely just look that up online. There are probably a lot of different designs you can do with tie-dye and rubber bands. So that's what we're going to do next. So go ahead and get this step done. Once again, it'll probably take about an hour or two, or 2 hours in total after you let it cool down. All right, so we finished up, letting the fruit or vegetable simmer. It's cooled down at this moment. The shirt's nice and wet. So what you need to do now, and I kind of already went ahead and did it just to make it easier for the video, but what you need to do is get your strainer and get your bucket and pour the pot of the fruit or vegetable through the strainer into the bucket. So as you can see, I already did that, and you can see all the remaining berries. This is so that we can separate the dye from the fruit. And after that, that's what's going to be your the dye for the t-shirt. So, and I know I mentioned this earlier, but you can do a pattern with your t-shirt. You don't have to, but what I did is the most common, I think it's the most common pattern, is the spiral pattern that you see most often with a tie-dye shirt. All you have to do if you want to do it this way is lay out your shirt, pinch it from the middle, so this is the middle, and you bring it up, and so this is what it would look like, and then you just rubber band it all the way down. So it's really easy. Just a reminder, remember to have at least one glove on. You don't want to get dye all over your hands. Okay, so at this point, what you're going to do, and this step will vary in time, but you're going to dunk your shirt into the dye, let it sit in there until it gets to the color that you want it to get. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. So yeah, off the bat, it's a purple color for the blueberries. At least that's what mine is. So you can see here, it's a little purple. And something I forgot to mention earlier, when you take your shirt out of the pot, make sure to wring it out so that you don't have all the excess water while you soak it into the dye. But yeah, the depending on if you use if you're using vegetables or fruits, the salt or vinegar, it does really help, keep the dye into the cloth, and I'm already noticing that right now. So so I'm gonna let this soak. I'm gonna make sure it gets, everywhere. Make sure it's all the dyes throughout the t-shirt. I just want to mention one more thing before we're done. Actually, a few things. Make sure after you get to this, once you get to your the color you want your shirt to get, what you're going to do next is get a Ziploc bag like that. You can take off the rubber bands and put it in the Ziploc bag, the shirt into the Ziploc bag. Put it in the microwave on high for 2 minutes. So this is kind of, the heat will help, help the dye stick to the cloth, and then you're going to let it cool for at least a few hours or maybe overnight. And then after that, the next morning I would just hang it up to air dry, and you'll be set. So that's it. And just kind of a tip, if you guys really master this, or if you want to try a few different ways, you can also use other fruits or vegetables to get other colors into your dye, or into your tie-dye shirt. So it's a process to do more, but it's fun. I also want to mention too that the quantity of the fruit or vegetable. So for me, it's working out pretty well. For the blueberries, I just got like a box like this. The blueberries is kind of a small box. So if you're doing this with your family, let's say family of 4, obviously, get 4 times as much of what you need for everything, so that there's enough tie-dye for everyone. And it also depends on your shirt size too. Obviously, if you have a kid's size shirt, you don't need as much dye. This is a large shirt, a men's large shirt, so it takes a lot more dye than a kid's large. So, but yeah, other than that, that's it. I'm gonna let mine soak, and then I'm gonna put mine, like I said earlier, into the microwave for 2 minutes, and then I'm gonna let it cool and air dry. So it should be ready by tomorrow. But other than that, appreciate you guys listening, and stay in tune for more Skynet Home videos. Thanks.